Welcome again to Gloria's Gab Live. I'm Gloria Burns, and I'm happy to have you with me today. Before we begin, let me thank our show sponsor, Jackie Milanese, at hashtag All Things Jackie M. Jackie is a serial entrepreneur who, with her insurance company and real estate license, is also a super host for an Airbnb with 2 great properties in Oahu, Hawaii. She and her husband, George, own the new Geico insurance agency in Palmetto Bay. Thank you, Jackie, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to introduce some amazing people who are making such a positive impact on our community. One of whom is my guest today, Shirley Pardon. Shirley is the president of the Miami Women's Club, and I've known her for a long time. She's also a fellow Rotarian. She's in the Miami Rotary Club. So we have a lot in common over the years. And she happens to be, if I'm not mistaken, Shirley, you are the first British president of the Miami Women's Club. Is that correct?
I am. What an absolute thrill. Yes,
yeah,
I
but
am.
Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, no,
so tell me, we have a lot of stuff going on. We're all part of the General Federation of Women's Clubs. Mm-hmm. So got a convention coming up, but tell me about they've got a beautiful, or you're going to have a beautiful rental space. You've got a gorgeous building that's historic. Tell me a little bit about that and what's going on with the Miami Women's Club.
Our building was built in 1926 by a very prominent architect of the time in Miami. His name was August Geiger. We first were founded in 1900 and established in 1903. And we used to meet, or the Ladies' Afternoon Club used to meet in Julia Tuttle's house.
Wow.
And then Henry Flagler, who was a great friend of hers, gave her a building. So they moved into the building, and they incorporated with the GFWC in 1903. Well, they established the first library in Miami. And this was part of Henry Flagler's, he wanted that as a legacy in Miami. Anyway, they outgrew that. The Afternoon Ladies Club became really big. It had every lady who was a wife, a sister, a daughter of all the movers and shakers in Miami. Mm-hmm. I mean, the people that founded and built Miami, they were all part of the Miami Women's Club. Anyway, they outgrew this space. And by then, Henry Flagler had passed away, but they petitioned the estate and they got the money to build this beautiful building. They got the land from the estate, and then through bake sales and fundraising, they raised $500,000 and they built the building.
Wow.
So
that was a lot of money back then, too.
That was a lot of money. But can you imagine sort of Mary Brickell saying to her father, "Oh, Daddy, we need $10,000, and I mean, all these people that were rich and famous and ponying up, the money. So they raised the money and they built the building. There was always going to be a sister building on the site, but as things happened, and I think that Miami changed. The big hurricane took out so many buildings.
Was that in 23?
That was 25.
Oh, 25?
Sorry, 25. And there was another one in, I think it was 35, which did a lot of damage. Anyway, so the second building didn't get built, but it became the Miami Women's Club, and this gorgeous building. It's 5 floors, and it overlooks the bay. So they met there, but they were so involved in the community from the beginning. And with the Second World War, they raised money all the time for community organizations, and they did a huge amount of fundraising for the war to buy equipment and ammunition. So anyway, they continued on, and then in the 50s, I found some really old documents when we were going through the building because we had to move out. So I found, and they were actually going to sell it, but it didn't happen. So they continued meeting there. And then in the 60s, obviously things were tight to run a building like that. So they rented the building all except one floor to the Fine Art College.
Oh, really?
And they took the lease for 40 years. But unfortunately, they didn't sort of do a lot of maintenance. So when the building was up for its 40-year recertification, it didn't pass.
Oh my gosh, the Coral Gables Women's Club had the same thing going on right now.
Right.
Oh,
so
that cost.
Yes. So they had to get the money for this. And the CRA, the Community Redevelopment Authority, in the Omni District, they put up money which we thought was going to do not only the outside but the inside, and it didn't. There was so much damage on the outside. I mean, the building hadn't been touched since the 20s.
Oh my
since
goodness.
It was built.
Yeah.
So you can imagine, you know, the sea and the salt air had done so much damage. Anyway, so it passed its recertification, and with the grant from the CRA, we were going to work with the city and the county and have the building as a community center and a center of a lot of cultural and artistic things that the city and the county were going to underwrite, and the state were involved. And then we had a recession. And then once again, they thought they would sell the building, but it didn't happen. There was a lot of resistance. And so they had to move out of the building because it hadn't got its recertification. But at that point, the only way that we could save the building was to obviously get commercial tenants.
Right.
So the commercial tenants are going to open 2 restaurants, but we still maintain our floor.
Thank goodness.
Which,
so now what floor are you going to be on?
We're going to be on the 3rd floor.
Oh, okay.
And it's recreated very much with the sort of historic integrity. And they've replaced the same flooring, and we're going to put the same.
So now, are you going to be able to rent out that floor too?
Yes, it will also be rentable as banqueting suite.
And does it have view? And because I think I've only been on the 1st floor.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the restaurants are going on the 1st and 2nd and the 4th and 5th. And they've also built onto the roof, and they've got a roof restaurant.
Wow.
Which we will have access to on obviously a limited basis. But you know, part of the deal was that we would go in and do that.
Oh, that's terrific, though.
I know.
Wow,
but
very exciting.
Us.
Well, I'm so happy to hear all this good news.
Yes, it's wonderful. We won't be in the building and probably until we're looking at fall. I mean, as everybody else, we've been doing Zoom meetings, and our members can't wait to get back.
I know. We just before we got on the air, we were just talking about how the Women's Club is doing things outside under our eave. And you're certainly welcome to do any of our events. We have Gringo Bingo tomorrow. We have a lot of ways that we've been able to, because we have a building and because we have an outdoor area, to do things. But I appreciate how your members must be just dying to get back together.
Oh, they are.
And they are such a good group of people. In fact, you guys are going to the General Federation of Women's Club Florida has a fall board, which is a planning session, whatever. It's a big conference in Orlando coming up May 14th, 15th, and 16th.
That's right.
Yeah. So, and your club always comes. You're always dressed alike. They're hilarious. And we have such a good time kind of sharing ideas on things that we're doing. So do you have any plans for the coming year for the Women's Club?
Well, we're continuing on Zoom. We're doing a lot of community donations because our members are scattered around, and because until now, people have been very afraid to get together. Yeah. And they don't even want to congregate in different places to do things. We can't do community work in the way that we did. So monthly, we give 2 donations of $1,000 to community organizations. And then we also, because we always pay for our members' lunches, I mean, because we've rented so much of the building, you know, we have a decent income. Yeah. And so we give that money to anyone that's feeding people on the streets or the food pantries and
Yeah.
food banks.
Oh,
And last month it was funny. We because the Girl Scouts were hurting for
yeah,
sales.
I'd heard that. Yeah.
We spent all our money, all our $1,200. We bought $1,200 worth of cookies,
No way.
and then the members went out and distributed them to our first line workers. You know, the police
What a
and the
great
fire.
idea.
Yes,
I love that.
we just took them all these cookies.
Did you put that on membership montage?
Of course,
The General Federation of Women's Clubs sends out like a little newsletter every Monday. So we always talk about, things that we do, and it's a way for us to share ideas on things that we might do in our community.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you that group of women throughout the state of Florida is pretty creative.
Right.
And we've gotten some great ideas.
That's right. And somebody might be doing something up in, I don't know, Tallahassee or the place that sounds like the Peanuts. The places in the state that I really haven't heard of, but they're very active.
Some Indian names that are Micanopy. And
oh yes, no, I know that, but there's some other places that I hadn't.
Well, I went to school at the University of Florida, so
Oh well, then
I know some of those crazy sounding names.
Well, as an import to Florida,
as an import, these are new to you, right? Yeah. So, so when things open back up again, typically, I know. Thinking about History Month, we just passed Women's History Month, and you all did a walk downtown.
Yes,
this was for the suffrage.
Right. This was to commemorate the passing of the 19th Amendment, and we did a stroll along Biscayne in our 19th century costumes.
I know we had some of our members join you, and it was so wonderful.
We had the TV and we made the news
did.
All the 4 stations.
Yeah,
it was wonderful, and we did something very dramatic because Black ladies, as you know, weren't allowed in the march when they did this march. And so they had to be at the back. So we, about halfway around, we stopped and we brought all our Black ladies to the front in a gesture to this. Yeah. And so then they marched along in the front. And we ended up at Julia Tuttle's statue, and we all placed our yellow roses.
Right. Yeah, that was such a good gesture. Yes. I love that. I love that.
So,
and Julia Tuttle,
mother of Miami.
The mother of Miami, for sure. For
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah. So, what was I going to ask you about? I had it on my mind, and we started talking about Julia Tuttle, and I forgot.
Yes. We were talking about the convention.
Oh, yeah.
The Miami Women's Club, for many, many years, didn't have much money. We have very little income. We just about managed to pay, the insurance and keep the lights on.
Well, yeah, because that's a huge building.
Exactly. So when we got these tenants, we were able to participate for the first time in the state. We did send a couple of ladies prior to that, but not on any. They went and they participated, but not en masse. So we were able to all go, and we had a president prior to me who wanted to put Miami on the map. Yeah. So she had us all dressed the same.
I know, it's hilarious.
And we certainly got on the map, and they're just.
Are you going to dress all like this?
Oh
time?
My goodness! They made it a condition of my presidency that they continue.
Okay, it's a 50s theme, so this is going to be interesting.
Yes, exactly. And unfortunately, I wasn't in America in the 50s, and we didn't have happy days in England.
But didn't you have the same style though?
No, well, we sort of did, but we didn't have the television programs that promoted it.
Oh, I see.
So I'm relying on all the other ladies to tell me what it is.
Get a crinoline, get a
exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of
right.
But I thought, oh my God, I've got to look through my closet and see what I've got to.
Yes, I mean,
I never had a poodle skirt. I got to tell you, I had the big. I had the crinolines, but
I mean, there were many things that didn't cross the Atlantic, didn't cross the pond. I mean, I had no idea what saddle shoes are. I still don't know
What?
saddle shoes
Oh,
are.
saddle Oxfords.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, they're a two-tone shoe. I know. I want. Yeah, that was a little
Right. They
before
showed me
me.
a picture.
I know about it, but because of Happy
Right.
Days, but it was a little before me, so I don't think I ever had
Right.
saddle Oxfords or, but I know
Yeah.
about them.
But I must tell you that we're not all frivolous at the Miami Women's Club, but
No.
we our state president for this year, as you know, has an initiative which is special needs people and spreading respect and kindness to all. So we've taken this and
Unity and diversity, was that it?
I'm sorry?
Unity and diversity?
Yes.
Yeah.
But what we decided to do was adopt a special needs classroom every month
Oh,
and give supplies to the teachers, because a special needs child needs different supplies than obviously a
oh my
regular
gosh.
child.
What a great idea.
And we're taking it a little further because every year we do scholarships we're linked with Miami-Dade College now. And we
Right.
give 5 scholarships to underprivileged students that
Mhm.
could really use
Right.
$1,000.
Mhm.
And this year we've decided to do special needs students. So I've been in touch with the Miami College, the bursar, or the person that sort of does this,
Yeah.
and they're so thrilled that we're going to
Right.
donate in that way, because a
Yeah.
lot of special needs students do not get the opportunity to get special grants and scholarships.
Yeah, what a great idea, though.
Yes,
I love that.
But
Yeah.
it's a wonderful umbrella for us to be able to work under this year,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
having this.
Funny enough, the Coca Plum Women's Club called me because they have a scholarship fund, and but it's hard to give out scholarship money, and Community Foundation provides a great way to do it, and the Rotary Foundation also.
Right.
So
Yes.
we have our own, Coral Gables
Yes.
has its own
Yes.
foundation, but we have a scholarship, and we use Coral Gables Community Foundation.
Yeah.
But they already are doing a bunch of scholarships for a group of people. So the club, Coca Plum, said, "Hey, we have to give out the scholarship, but how do you do it?" And because they're already doing it and already have the people that are taking care of the reviewing the scholarship applications, that kind of stuff, it's a real job.
Right.
So they just threw them in with the mix, and
Right.
yeah, so it worked out really well. But there's so many ways. I was asking you later or earlier about how you get your Rotary Club and your Women's Club to work together, and we do that all the time.
Yes.
And but it's such a great thing when both of us are
Right.
members of both clubs,
Exactly.
that we're able
Yes.
to. I know whenever we do a Gringo Bingo or whenever we do anything, my Rotary Club is really, really super supportive, and vice versa.
Right.
When my Rotary Club is
Yeah.
out, so okay, guys, they help
Yeah.
us. You got to help them.
Well, I think that with things opening up, we're going to be able to. I mean,
Yeah.
it's much harder on Zoom to get people interested to do a joint meeting, unless we had some really amazing speaker that you could then invite other clubs and they will participate. But I can't wait till we get back in the building, and then we will have events where I want to do.
You're able to do that.
Yes.
Well,
And
we
one
have
of
a
our-
district event coming up pretty soon too for the General Federation of Women's Clubs, District 11.
Yes, that's right.
When is that? Next week? I don't know.
Yes, I
Anyway,
think so.
but we're
I think
meeting
so,
by
yes.
Zoom again.
Yeah,
But ordinarily we meet together.
that's right.
And, I think the last time I was at your building was 4 years ago for some kind of district meeting. It was probably before you went around. You probably hadn't
Yes,
even
before I
arrived.
took over. I don't think we met at the building.
I was young. So it
Actually-
was a long time ago.
Yeah, it wasn't 4 years ago. It was a lot longer than that. But one of the things that we want to do at our building is to have some kind of state meeting, because they're
Yeah.
always upstate. They always, the conventions are in Orlando, but we'd love to do a sort of South Florida meeting and have it at the building.
Yeah.
And I already
Well, it's a way
talked
to introduce people to the building too. Once
absolutely,
it's when you've
and
got it
to
done.
South Florida. You know, they tend to be in parts of Florida where they don't sort of mix and mingle, except obviously at the convention.
Right.
But we just thought it would be a really nice idea to
It
be
will
able
be,
to
yeah.
and have the facility to do it.
Now, tell me, what are you doing? I know that April 7th is supposed to be
Yes.
like volunteer day. What
Yes,
is it?
it's the GFWC Day of Service.
Day of Service. Right.
And it's to, again, highlight the state president's project, which is
Unity and diversity.
diversity and kindness. So what we're doing is we're going up to, I think it's Olita Park in Miami, and we are giving guest checks. That's where the food trucks go, and they feed a lot of needy people. So we're donating $1,250, $10 meals.
Oh.
And we're creating guest checks. So they're putting them on a board, and anyone that needs a meal will just go and take it and hand it into the food truck.
Oh, nice.
And the food truck organization, you know, is part of this. So obviously they're underwriting a little bit of the cost.
Part of it too.
But we're giving our money for that.
Oh my gosh, where do you come up with these great ideas?
Well, you know, we have a very good committee, and
yes, you do.
And this whole thing with the food, I think we had to think out of the box when all this pandemic started, and the need has been so great.
Yeah, and you can't do like buffets. It's like you have to, everything has to be individually wrapped.
And we have no facility, obviously, as we only meet on Zoom, but we have no facility apart from a banqueting room in the hotel to be able to do anything. We can't go into the building and cook things. I know a lot of the clubs, they cook. And I mean, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
and they cook and serve, but we don't have that facility. Yeah. So the only way we can help the community is really in donations.
But once you move back in, will you have a kitchen in your...
No.
Oh.
No. Part of our deal, unfortunately, letting the space commercially to restaurants is that we lose a facility to be able to cook. Well, I mean, what we could do is set up tables and make sandwiches and bring food in like that and package it.
If somebody's renting your facility, do they?
Well, they would either do a deal with the restaurants,
exactly,
or they would do an outside catering service, and they would have to bring everything in.
Everything.
Yes, and I know that they do that when they go to buildings without facilities. They can do that.
Yeah. But like you said, you have the restaurants on site.
Yes, we have the restaurants,
and if they can make it affordable.
Exactly.
For people that want to use their services, that's cool.
That's right. But
and certainly easier than transporting stuff in.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure that if you wanted to book a wedding in the Miami Women's Club and this beautiful floor and suite that we have, you would make a facility to bring in food or drink or whatever. So,
well, do you have at least a way to heat up coffee or that kind of stuff?
Do.
Yeah,
I mean, we would just, for our meetings, we would be able to do that.
Yeah, you would be able to do that.
Yes,
you just can't do it when they're renting it out to a big...
That's right.
Okay.
And we have a suite of offices, and then...
Oh, do you?
Yes.
I can't wait to see it.
I know. We can't wait to show it off.
I know. We're going to have to do like a video.
Oh, no. We're going to have in person. We're going to invite, especially our district.
Well, but on your website, you should be doing a walkthrough.
Oh, absolutely. Well, when we get to the point where we can do this, because it's still, although the floors are done, they're covered, to protect them at the moment.
For sure. Yeah.
And we're sort of letting the restaurant people use our office for their office. So, but, a couple of tables. I mean, nothing very much.
Yeah.
But until we're there, in the pristine state, we can't go in the building until they do the elevators, and that's what we're waiting on. Because in an old building from the 20s, they had to be custom made.
Because, I bet they did.
Because Otis can't put in elevators.
No.
They sort of fit this strange little shaft. I mean, it's very interesting that the elevator only held 5 people or 6 people.
Oh my
And you would
gosh.
think, well, why
How do
wouldn't
you-
they make them a bit bigger? I mean, surely people
They
were.
didn't think about transporting desk and furniture and
No, but I mean, even people, transporting people,
yeah.
4 or 5 at a time. It's
Yeah.
just a bit strange. So we've had to have custom made
Oh my
elevators.
gosh.
And
Well,
until the
are you
elevators,
able now? The elevators will hold more people than 5,
well,
or
yes,
not?
they've had to make the shaft bigger
Oh yeah.
because the elevators today are bigger than they were.
Oh,
So
okay.
this is the whole point.
Oh my gosh.
But even
So-
then, they've had to adapt the shaft. It still wasn't
and for
the
an
right
historic
size.
building on top of it. Oh my gosh.
I know,
No
I
wonder it's
know.
taken so long.
It is.
Yeah.
It's been a whole bit of a saga, but we've been very patient.
Yeah.
And we did have meetings in banqueting rooms in
Yeah.
the hotel because the tenants own the Doubletree Grand. So
Okay.
they allowed us to use banqueting rooms to hold our meetings. And we've been doing this for probably about 7 or 8 years.
Oh my goodness.
I know we've been out of the building a
Good
long
night.
time.
That is a long time.
And the last speaker that we had at an event was the Attorney General, Janet.
Reno?
Yes.
Get out of here.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Before she became really sick with Parkinson, but she was our last speaker, guest
Wow.
speaker.
Yeah.
And but that was it.
A
And
great
so
lady.
we've been out
Yeah.
ever since. But
Oh
we've
my
kept
gosh.
going, we had a president that didn't want us to fail. And Noreen Timoney, she was the wife of our previous police chief, which is why everyone knows the name.
Right.
And she really worked to keep the building together and to get a lease and to get the tenant.
Yeah. Wow.
And through their hard work and I was on her board, but this has gone on for such a long time. So everybody, should really pat themselves on the back that they've kept this going, because we could have lost it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm so
many
proud of
times.
you. And,
Oh,
and
thank
I
you.
cannot wait
I know.
for you guys to open
I
your
know.
building. And
I mean, I kept thinking I'm going to be the only president that never actually held a meeting in live people.
exactly. Well, yeah, we have Ruth Martinez, whom you've met.
Right.
And yeah, she's the same way with the Coral Gables Women's Club. You know what? Yeah, walk into and Kelly Garces is our, the president of our Coral Gables Rotary Club.
Right.
Same thing.
Right.
I said, but it's amazing when you're faced with challenges like that, how much you're able to do. Look at how many
Yes.
people you've helped this year.
Yes.
We've had, we were like, I'm so busy all the time promoting different things that we're
Exactly.
doing. And you think, in a lockdown, for
Yes.
2020,
Yes. Yeah.
we raised a lot of money in 2020
Right.
that we gave out to so many charities.
Right.
We're the Gringo Bingo at Clutchburger.
Yes.
Yeah. So come to Clutchburger tomorrow.
Yes. All right.
Yeah,
I will,
everybody, Clutchburger tomorrow,
Right.
7 to 9.
Promise.
It's only $20.
All
It's a
right.
deal. Yeah,
I'll be
right.
there.
Yeah.
This is in
So-
person, I assume.
Yeah. So actually, our time is
Oh,
up. I know.
This has been so interesting.
Yeah, I know. I should have you back because there's so much more I wanted to talk to you
Oh.
about. But
When we're open.
when we're open,
I'll
we'll
bring a
have them
video.
back, and we'll have some pictures of the interior. But I want to thank again Jackie Milanese, All Things Jackie M, and Geico Insurance, her George and her husband and her agency. And I want to thank Shirley for coming again today, and thank you all for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you next week, and have a great day. Stay safe. And